The Wildlife Disease Association is a leading international scientific organisation representing wildlife health. Our 1,659 members across the globe work together to promote the health of our precious wildlife. I'm Andrew Peters and I'm the president of this fantastic association. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce myself and also to invite you to be part of the activities of the Wildlife Disease Association. I was born in South Africa and I grew up in Australia. At home I speak German with my kids because my wife is German, and I live in a small town called Wagga Wagga in Wiradjuri country in southeastern Australia. Here I work as Associate Professor in Wildlife Health and Pathology at Australia's largest non-urban university, Charles Sturt University. My teaching, I mainly teach vet students, but I also am heavily involved in research, and increasingly my research focus is on the human dimensions of wildlife health. I also have a very strong interest in developing animal health in our region in the Pacific, especially in Papua New Guinea, and I have a number of projects and relationships that are happening in this part of the world. I first became involved in the Wildlife Disease Association 21 years ago when a colleague of mine, Dave McClelland, suggested I attend the Wildlife Disease Association Australasian Conference, which that year was in New Zealand. Since then, I've been increasingly involved in the organisation. Over that time, served for 4 years as the section chair for Wildlife Disease Australasia, and now I'm in the fortunate position to be able to serve in this position in the International Wildlife Disease Association. WDA undertook ambitious strategic planning under our past president Carlos das Neves. Through a strategic committee of 35 members, including all WDA officers, most of WDA Council and a number of other members, we identified that there were a number of strategic activities that should be undertaken in the near future to both grow our family as an association and to grow our impact in terms of promoting wildlife health. The beating heart of WDA and where our activities mainly take place is through our committees. To best fulfill this ambitious strategic plan, we've revised our committee structure to align with that vision. We now have 8 committees. We have an awards committee that identifies the rising stars and long-term outstanding members that we have. We have a budget committee that is responsible for the financial soundness of our association. We have a communications and outreach committee that will be responsible for looking after all communications that are outward facing from our association, including our newsletter, our website and our social media. We have a conference committee that will be responsible not just for helping to organise and identify locations for our annual WDA conference, but also helping to think about how we can make our conference more accessible to our members through digitisation, for instance. We have a membership committee that will be responsible for identifying how we can best provide value to you, our members, but also we'll be thinking about how we can actually best diversify our membership to make sure that we are truly international and have all of the different disciplines in our membership that are needed to solve wildlife health problems. We have a nominations committee that makes sure that there's a slate of suitable candidates for our officer positions and council positions every year for voting on. And we'll also have a research and grant committee that will take care of not just the small grants program that we've historically offered, but think about how we can grow the support for our members who are involved in research. And the last committee that we have is very important to us, and that's our student committee. It fosters student development through the various student chapters around the world. I'd like to invite you to be part of these committees. Not only can you help to shape the future of WDA and promote wildlife health, but you can make really important connections with colleagues around the world. If you think this suits you, then I'd invite you to fill out a brief form that has been distributed at the moment through our weekly emails. So keep an eye open for that. Thanks very much.